All right, and we're back. plug in the headset. Alright, day 2 of working on Space Edit. Hey, is it Yamiya? I'm doing good. Today we're going a little bit further. Maybe turn the music down a little tiny bit. It's a little bit high. It's a bit high for me in general. Hopefully that's a little bit better. It seems to be. Yeah, so this is day 2, I guess, or day 3 of working on Space Edit. Initial zone support. We need a little corner wall placeholder. A few things. Just gonna update the Discord real quick. How are you doing? Yeah, so there's a few things we can tackle today. One will be the image generation for the prefabs. Maybe some tool scripts. I'm not sure exactly which one I'm going to take precedence. Ceiling system will be kind of the same, exactly the same thing. We'll just do like a ceiling. Good, I'm trying some new VFX methods from DB5. What's your plans in regards to POIs? Will it be all space, or do you have any plans for planets? There's planets in Unforgiven space. There's going to be some in the early development phases. There's just going to be a sand planet, a water planet, a gas giant. What task program? Dude, we use ClickUp for everything now. No, ClickUp is Trello. That's old school, dude. We need flowcharts, crafting, you know, time management, project management. It's ClickUp. We have everything. This does everything, dude. This does, like, literally, check this out. Like, it does, like, you can attach to the task game design documents, right? You can just attach, like, all these different pages of game designs for game design documents. I pay for it for the studio. right? So at least now, like we can, like, so in decent space as an example, in our board. So there's like individual like time tracking I was using for this particular thing. But here in the Unforgiven space, we have like all the marketing stuff, all the systems. It integrates in Discord. You can access it on mobile. There's a desktop app. I'm using the desktop app right now. Send me your Gmail, and I'll add you to. You should be a member of this. Maybe not. You're in this. You're one of the first members. You're literally already in this. Just gotta click up and log in. Because we switched over from Trello to this. Remember when we had a certain person delete a whole bunch of art assets? You work for a studio, you just ClickUp. It's a pretty solid solution. I think so too. I think it's great. You know, they're doing the whole, you know, agent thing, AI, and, you know, AI things with tasks. I like the integrations as well. Like, it's very relieving on the studio side to be able to, you know, go to the tracker and see like what I'm working on. You know what I mean? Like anyone who's a Patreon of the website, they can go see where I am, see what I'm working on, see what tasks are being. So it's kind of cool, you know. So it gives them a little bit of, you know, they can see for themselves. You know what I mean? Like what's getting done. So that's always good. And we're back to the space edit. I think we're gonna grok up a custom inspector. Yeah, I think that's gonna. We're gonna do that. We're gonna run. For sure. How did you went about solving the scale problem of planets? Do I use any fancy method for LADs? Decided to compromise in the scale. I haven't fully. I'm not 100% sure yet on how I want to approach final generation. I have a load of different prototypes. Let me find. But the reality is we have pure 64-bit precision, so space is not an issue. The reality is just going to be, you know, just using ProcGen around the player to kind of just load in. Hey, 7 Raiders from Bear Like Lion. Hey, you streamed today, Bear. Hey, Goob. Welcome, welcome. Hell yeah, let me give you a shout out. Bear like, I wish this would. There we go. So we're gonna make a couple tool scripts today. Thanks, Savage Dude, for the follow. What? Why is that so high? What the hell? Overlay. Hang on. Stream alerts. Control via OBS. Shut down source when it's not visible. Refresh it when it becomes inactive, maybe? No, refresh the cache. No idea. Man, that sounded terrible. I just realized too my shirt's like totally in a mess. It's warm here. This is the first day out driving that I think it's been like 21 degrees. This has been fantastic. We ran a bunch of Godot headaches in the stream today. Hopefully someone learned something. Yeah. I mean, that's the nature, man. Godot. It's, you know, it's a forever going process. So let me give you let me give you kind of tour bear of what space edit is and what it's accomplished, what it's trying to so just this is for pretty much everyone too. Just so this is gets for every mesh. Yeah, if it's not made unique. So whenever you're doing, and then keep in mind too that once that material comes unique, every single player has a new version of that. So it's very important, and especially if that reference exists and other players are trying to update shader properties of that material, they're gonna fight over what data is being pushed into the material, as all references will be the same. So whenever you're doing like custom player configuration, it's important either on the model side or through code that you do like a duplication from like, and that gets kind of tangly too because like I have custom ships and sometimes I want them to only have one skin, but like I do want the player to be able to customize them. So you got to be like a little bit strategic in when are we creating a new instance and when are we not. So we don't. I'm going to attempt to rewrite my own like surf stuff map. Oh, cool. That sounds awesome. So let me So this is Space Edit, right? I made some new icons. I'll show them these off to you, and with some light visualizations now, because I don't really want it casting lights. I mean, I have a directional light. It's not, we're not meant to test things right now. It's just to be able to place them. Looking so good. So this is how this works, right? So we have a dynamically moving plane, right? I can select objects. I can rotate them, right? I can go to my shelf. If I still have this one selected, I need to make it not select, but the idea is it remembers the last selection, right? Or last rotation, right? So you just kind of, you're just building in whatever plane, as I come up, I'm exposing the next level, right? Like, I'm a sucker for level editors, right? But so, and then what I've been learning how to, go in and create these custom inspectors and custom editors for different things, check boxes, sucker for level editors. The goal of Space Edit is to allow multiplayer editing, right? To be able to have multiple people connect to the lobby that's hosting the session, right? And they themselves are just their own camera. And they can run around and as a camera and build things and kind of collaboratively work together, and only the host is going to be saving, right? So whoever's like, all of this just saves to a resource, and that's the base principle, right? Like there's a whole bunch extra, but we can go down that rabbit hole later on, but it's just getting it working, right? So it's built upon the premise that everything aligns itself to a meter, but between zones, like the next room needs to have its own interior wall, which it will, right? Because occlusion culling requires them to be their own entities, their own little things, and yeah. So this is kind of how this will go down. There'll be different, way more prefabs than obviously these two that I'm using for testing, but that's the idea of Space Edit, right? Is this mode that won't just be about like selecting things, right? And we want to be able to bring up all the information about what you select, and this will become a debug tool in the future. Like when I'm running in runtime, and I just switch to my Space Edit mode, I can just fly around and select that ship, and I can see all the ship's components and kind of get a better debug visualization of what's happening. So it allows like a more of a God's eye view of your running level, right? So it will exist in the multiplayer map, and it'll be a thing that can just be enabled, and other builders are just placing, sending RPCs to you to do all the placement and things like that. So that's kind of the goal. I want to get this working to a point that I can bring in a bunch of gray box levels, like level pieces, and it should be fully possible to be able to create these zones and areas, and add lights and kind of readjust the properties of them. There will be probably a different view, like a render view, where we toggle off and on the background. I made up all these earlier today, like the different icons. Made those up in Blender, like little light icon for adding some lights and moving things around, and this way we can keep track of the total number of lights that are in the scene, which ones are baked, which ones are not baked. Be able to kind of define, like the collections of things that will be kind of that will have like baked lighting applied to them, and this is just early days. But its job right now is just to be a generic editor, place things into the scene, delete them, rotate them, save it out, and that's kind of that's the spiel. Let me okay. I'll just minimize my YouTube chat. Put you guys up here in the corner. So this is going to be a 2-week squirrel. I'm taking a break from the main build. I think the effort of Space Edit will kind of pay itself off. Like if I can get it to a point, I really don't want to be designing some of the station prefabs in the editor itself. I'd like to be able to have first stage placement. Second stage, the incorporation of a scripting language. And when I'm like scripting language, I mean like maybe Lua, maybe something even primitive. It could be just using GDScript. I'm not sure yet, but I want to utilize in-game online editing, where maybe we can like have a list of prefabs or a list of things, and you can scatter them. Right, like just a lot of randomizers, right? Random position, some sign distance collapse, some kind of dependency trees for stations, like, validators, right? If we're trying to build a station, what does a station need, and does this station that you've built, like, is it valid, right? Is there escaping air, right? Are there gaps in these voxel volumes, right? It's the right, and the idea of being able to take a collection of assets and changing the lighting and adding material overrides for grime, and things like that. Like making a pirate station is just changing up a few things, right? Changing the way things kind of blend. Right, so that's kind of where we are. So there's a few things I want to prototype, because a lot of this is just pure effort, but we're not here to do pure effort. We're here to do some vibe coding. We're gonna build. We're gonna use some AI here. We're gonna go to Grok, and so the concept of what I want to build now, or what we're gonna vibe, is we're gonna build a new scene. This new scene is going to be like an asset builder, right? So we're going to create a new scene. Yeah. So this scene, this will be called assets. And it's not going to have a world environment. It's going to be pretty basic old scene here. We're going to give it a node. This is going to be called the asset builder. It's going to be its own thing. It could exist, but we're going to put it into its own. We're going to put it into its own thing. Right. So, asset builder. Right. So we're just going to whip this up very quickly. VS Code wants to load. We're gonna update or something VS Code? What are we doing? Code is running and not doing anything. Okay. Language server exists. Weird. My 3 instances should be up here somewhere. I don't know. Kill it. All right, so we have an asset builder. So what's an asset builder going to do? It's going to kind of work with the build collection. So it's going to use monolithic space edit. It's going to be part of the space editor. Its role, its job is going to be to, bake assets and organize asset collections, right? So we have a couple of options we can do. We can let Godot do it for us, or we can not. Kind of. I like the idea of doing it my own. I think that's kind of cool. I think before we is the space editor that all this space editor thing they remember Starbase. It's a cool thing to draw inspiration from. Sadly, the development is almost at a halt. Oh, that sucks. Yeah, it's important. I believe it's super important to tool. I believe tooling is like you need to continuously tool your way. If you don't, you're going to be in trouble. That's how else we build all these stations, and you know what I mean. Like you could do it manually, of course, but so we just want an export. It could be public, sure. So let's do public. It is our block database. Block database. We'll just I don't mean the raid and run, but I'm gonna go lurk while I grab dinner. Have a good one, Bear. Thanks again for the raid. Probably see you on the Godot Discord in a bit. So what I want to build is kind of like a staging environment. Something where we'll throw in a camera. This will be called the model camera. And it's not really going to have a script. We're going to just kind of define a camera to be used. We could use the one from the scene, but you might want to keep this one. I was aware of the fact that Godot support double precision. Does it implement extends up to the GPU? No. You have to kind of fake. So the way let me go to there we go. Right, emulating double precision on the GPU. Right, so how it handles things, and so what you generally do, the way that I approach this for some of the testing that I've done is pretty much do all of the procgen stuff pretty much in the relative view of the model view matrix, right? Like relative to the game object itself. So then it doesn't really matter where it exists, right? Like all the distances and calculations, but then you still need to be able to feed in a relative your position to the model into the same system, right? But because it, right. So the real solution is to have pretty much use 2 floats. So right. So the first float is our trinicates the double float to the nearest float, and the second float is the difference between the double and the trinicate value. Right, and you can kind of just update your float. Yeah, this change has already been added, but however in double version, you must use blah, 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 yeah. So that's the, there's a few limitations, but, it's fine. right? It's fine enough from what I've seen so far, as far as making a space game. I haven't ran into it. I haven't seen anything too crazy yet, or I haven't seen anything, you know, show stopping. All right, so camera. So yeah, I do want to have this camera be unique. So let's do. We'll put the environment on this thing. So we'll use a clear color. Yeah, pretty much. You know what I mean? Like all transforms become double, right? Because it does support 64-bit. Just transforms themselves are 32-bit by default, because that makes sense. I mean, it's a lot of data. If we're talking all the every vertex, every vector, right? Like it's you know, there is a memory cost 64-bit, but you know, it's always offset by the fact that you're making a space game. You know, things are all separated by space, right? They're unloaded, they're not on the screen. They're, you know, you can kind of. So let's do clear color on the back, no tone lighting. We're gonna light. Do I want to do like a tree tone thing for this, or just like a source light? Maybe we'll just do like a directional light. I think that'll be fine, and we'll just go from the camera 45, which will be fine. And then the idea is we're going to create a marker node. This marker node will be, you know, asset mount, or asset location. And if we take a temporary one, so we want to do game objects building blocks. So let's do this corner. We'll create a version of this. Obviously we can't see it, so keep the asset location centered. We'll take our camera, and we want to get, you know, the above kind of. If we get it from above for a lot of this, and it kind of starts looking a little bit isometric, that's kind of what we want to go for. Like we could technically use an isometric camera for the baking of the previews. That actually might be, it could be the better option in this case. So no ambient light for this particular thing. Yeah, I think we can actually do that. We could do an orthographic. We'll still, we're going to set this up to, we're going to do 45. I ended up getting a new job working in finance, and with that new job, it's actually taken time away from the game, but is giving me the resources that I need to fund the game, right? So that's like a, you know, it's like a double-edged kind of sword, but you know, overall it's better. Yeah, like my focus is still always going to be just, hey, we need to get this thing, you know, working. Yeah, so we're gonna do some math on this thing. The asset builder will do that, because we're gonna have to kind of get the we're gonna have to get the AABB of the actual asset. So if we have a mesh, and we can get the AABB bounds, so we know what the height is, and we can dynamically scale out the camera distance, right, to match either the height or the width based upon that AABB. With a matrix, like what a rotational matrix of whatever, like whatever this camera would be, like if we were to consider how we're looking at this thing, right? And like whatever our bounds are. I want to try to make this thing where we can just screenshot these from an angle and save them out to a PNG, right? Based upon the ID. And this can be an automatic process where we just kind of automatically go through the asset database. right? So to go through the block database, right? Load in each one of these, right? Bake them, out to a PNG. And it can do this whenever it loads or whenever the asset database needs to be updated. So that's the, that's the concept. I'm not gonna, we're gonna kind of just get the basics of it here working first. So we'll do no rotation. Let's do -3. Not for the asset location, for the camera. I'm an idiot. Kill that. Equal distance on the Z. The only thing about the asset, our asset is not necessarily. Yeah, we're kind of backwards from what I really ultimately wanted. Because ideally, the front would be this, right? Because this is our Z minus. But it's kind of hard to tell what they are. Maybe not. No, that actually might be fine. We'll play around with it. We'll find the right angle for these. Okay, fine. Doing games without investors is already complicated on itself. Yeah, especially full time. Like I would love to get full time, but I have a belief that I need to prove that the game is going to happen. Like I want to make everything fully playable, all the actual systems of the game fully working. And then start looking at investors, start looking at a Kickstarter campaign. Look at those things where, because it's still like you still have 80%. Like just because everything's working, like all the art, the lore, there's a lot of details in fleshing it out. Like once it's a working concept, it's fun to play, and players will play it. There's still a lot. There's still a lot more. There's a huge polish phase, right? That would make it, like be what it needs to be. And I would like to hit that with a really solid. So the minimum viable product I'm aiming for now, in the short term, is to get the systems project, which is the one I'm using for multiplayer testing, fully working, with just three planets, a few different locations, and a few different NPCs. Like, I want to work towards 3 of each type of component, so they can be not balanced per se, but if I have the minimum viable weapon as far as performance goes, and then a medium, and then a great one, there's enough to mix and match and really get a feel for upgrading and where ships fly, how they profile, because everything else you can fill in. You can kind of look at crappiest component versus medium component and be like, okay, well there's room to fit stuff in here, in between. That's kind of fun. It's but there's a lot of cool lore and stuff I would really like to do. Like if I have the full freedom to do some things, there's more on the story side that I would really like to dive into outside of the mechanics. But let me make my slide. So this is an item, but Yeah, I think we do need like a little touch of ambient light. When we really think about it, like the direction light. Oh, then again, a direction light should probably follow. Yeah, let's. Yeah, maybe I'll kind of go back on that and throw a little bit of ambient light of color. I feel like we just need like a little bit of ambient occlusion or something. Little touch of ambient occlusion. Yeah, we'll keep it clear. It sounds good. I hope it goes as smooth as possible for you. Yeah, there's a lot of challenges to a multiplayer game. I don't know if you saw like if you were here last stream, I was showing off like the Delta patcher that I Okay, open water. Hey, how's it going, Mad Pop? Yeah, so let's see if we can make this acid builder. Take a screenshot. I've never done this before, so I'm gonna go to Grok first and just kind of let it give me a rundown. Go capture camera frame and save it as an image, PNG. That's pretty much it. All we really want, right? Capture the camera frame, save it to an image PNG, file system. It could be saved as a resource. I was in a hop from time to time, check out how the game is going. I get carried away watching others, and yeah, you get distracted, right? Check this out. This is a launcher I wrote in Godot. And watch this workflow. So here I am. I'm in my launcher. I log in. I'm logged into the API. I connect to Patreon. Oh look, the Unforgiven space. Allow. I'm in. And it patches. And they're actually gatekeeped with a JWT token. They have timeout. The URL paths are randomized. And the next phase, this is like phase one, right? Phase one was like, I just need people to test the game very fast. You know what I mean? The next phase will be actually delta patching between the two builds, so creating patch files, you know, incrementally between each of the builds, you know, like file structure, and so that way, you know, this won't take, you know, this long. But this is way better than the old way, because the old way was going into Google Drive, manually sharing them out with the email. Now I don't need to worry about that. They just go to Patreon, you know what I mean? Like their account is linked. Like they log into Unforgiven Space, they link their Patreon account, and it all works, right? Because they're logged in first. So once this gets connected, it already reestablishes themselves. So I thought this was a pretty cool, you know, a little step forward, right? And this is just, you know, the latest systems build. You know, just like for just for testing. So you're planning on distributing it through Steam at all? I plan to. Yeah, it's definitely going to be on Steam. I thought you were using the Steam testing. I haven't actually. The guys on the Godot Discord have been really like testing out the Steamworks stuff. I haven't really got it working. I'm not using GD script, so I have to use the Face Punch implementation. Yeah, right now the gravity stuff's all messed up. I'm in the middle of refactoring, or I was with this build, in the middle of refactoring the gravity volumes. But yeah, like this, like this is awesome. And I've also optimized my pipeline for pushing the, you know, the server stuff. Right, so there's a capture camera. We get our viewport. We can set the render target update. We can get our texture. We can convert the image. Oh, okay. Easy peasy. Right, file path. Wow, this is like super easy. Right, so OS get data path. I think focusing on your art now, well, I'm not focusing on my art right now. I'm focusing on the ability for players to build together, so that when I do get back into art, I'm building out prefabs that can be immediately placed. You know, in a multiplayer setting. But it's it'll happen. This is super easy. Look at how awesome this is. Capture and save image with an input, right? Boom. So in our asset builder, right? Easy peasy. Ensure the viewport is rendered. So we'll use, because we're using this actual view. Oh, we're getting it from the viewport instead. Are you hosting a single server for everyone within Patreon? Is the cost reasonable? Yeah, I am. I have a dedicated server in Quebec right now. It was in Toronto. I recently upgraded it to a pure SSD only solution. And I have a full Docker deployment solution for Godot for deploying my builds and running them. And that's been pretty good. Because they're usually for anywhere from $35 to $50 a month. For that's a quad core Xeon. I'm trying to think which one it is, or what the it's a little tiny bit, maybe like 4 or 5 years old. Hey, Mungalo. And it's able to run a good few instances. Like when I'm doing my server builds, it's really important that you go through the process and you strip all meshes. You strip pretty much like the only thing that exists on the server are just what, you know, only the things in the node paths that link to, you know, whatever the synchronizers are pointing to. Right? That's all that matters on the server side. I spent 2 days now reorganizing all my stuff with new repos for each drop of in module to be pulled as a Git subtree to the add-ons folder. Oh, cool. So Grok is saying, hey, we can get a viewport. So we're setting up a sub viewport to do this then in this example case. Let me just see this. Okay, no, we are using our actual viewport reference. Okay, and we're just saving the user, which is fine. Gotcha. What are you trying to do now? Nothing good. I don't think this exists anymore for 4.4 actually. Good texture does though, but I don't think the render target mode. Because I'm pretty sure that's for a sub viewport and that we're just ghosting. Alright, so we'll give AI a second. A screen capture, kind of, pretty much. Yeah, no, there's no bandwidth limitations. The system, there's a throughput limitation. I don't remember what it is, like, but nothing. There's no crazy limitations right now. and I picked up a second IP address to run some of the services and stuff like that on. So there's like one that'll run as kind of like a proxy, you know, like a UPnP TCP proxy that kind of like forwards internally to 5 kilobits per second deep iron and 5 print. No, it's like 100 megabit, like dedicated or something, or even a gigabit. I'm not sure, but I haven't ran into any issues with it. Yeah, that's what they said. We just use a sub viewport to do it. Right. You made a little bit more control. Okay, yeah, let's do that. Still convinced we can just do it the regular viewport. Yeah, that's what I thought. Super dumb. First time we ever viewport, we get our texture, we put it into user capture for the time being, we save the images, make sure it actually gets saved. Okay, done. Okay, makes sense. Cool. I do this if it is spacebar. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So I do like that we can use the sub viewport though to you know, to actually control the render resolution. So maybe the sub viewport option is actually better, but that works. Because otherwise you'd have to control it. It'll be pretty much the same. This is all self-explanatory. We'll do the same thing. We'll add a sub viewport. In the sub viewport, we're just going to stick everything that we were doing before with the camera. So our sub viewport will actually do it now. Then we'll do 512 by 512. And we'll do beauty, zone world, transparent background. But if we do transparent background, I think the camera. Are we getting a vertical slice trailer this year? I don't know. Wouldn't that be nice? I would love to remake the Unity trailer. I'd love to remake the Unity trailer. What is it when I say that the background is transparent? It's like not really transparent on the sub viewport. You can lie to us all we may, but do Sean Murray. Are we doing like a Sean Murray Maybe this is still transparent. It's really weird. Like, yeah, it's kind of hard to say, but let's just kind of, wait, do we have to put this? It could be its own world. Yeah, it could actually totally just be its own world. And then the asset builder. We're just gonna do the same thing, but we're just gonna have an export sub viewport. And the sub viewport, I'm pretty sure, is API. Yeah. Oh yeah, it's still. Hang on. So even with own world, but that doesn't really matter. It's just a new plan. I mean, what I'm seeing is what I'm getting. Rendering. Screen space FXAA, give it a little bit of filtering. I would like to see this in the sub viewport to see if like the filtering. Actually, let's just use TAA for it. As much as we hate TAA. Sure. Yeah, so this should be fine for the sub viewport. Right, so viewport texture is going to be the sub viewport kit texture. We have our image. Save it out. Yeah. No black. Why? Does the sub viewport not have a light or something? Do my scene not have a light to draw this thing up? Or maybe I need to yeah, I probably have to do something with this when I'm pulling it out. Yeah. Oh, because it's set to update. Wait. Update mode is not set correctly. The camera is not configured or not rendering the scene. The size is not 512. It is, and the camera is set up fine. Oh, okay. Only render once per capture. Okay, so maybe once Isolate the right. Yeah, we'll just do this in code here. And maybe the camera isn't current at the time. Right, it should just be the same thing. It's not empty, we're fine. Just... Hey David, how's it going? Right. Okay. Because we need to wait to the next frame to save it out. All right. Let's go ask builder, redo those references. It's fine. Okay. Just do it, does its thing. All right, and there we go. So it's weird that you like the transparency though of the viewport is like not actually saving, which is really dumb. Right, it's going to say that in sub this needs to be true, and that's true, and that the background is, you know, disable the environment, ensure the PNG, this is default, isolate the model in the sub viewport. We've done all this. I don't want to kill the environment because I'm actually setting the environment up. Right, but we will just encode. Reconfigure the sub viewport to have that transparent background. Or maybe it'll be fine. Okay. No. Right, when it's transparent, it doesn't have anything. It's saying, if I go to my camera and I clear the environment, then it works. Cool. Yay. Okay, well then, wait. So, I don't get my ambient occlusion though. Right, we get a perfectly textured model, right, that has alpha, but we don't get our... So there must be something we can do with the environment. It's weird to me that, and it must, maybe the ambient light, oh, yeah, maybe the ambient light is removing. Right, I wanted this, like a little bit of, you know, ambient occlusion. Because our background is clear color. That actually is a thing. Right? Like, yeah, so it's probably the ambient light doing it. Maybe we can get away with some screen space ambient occlusion and just get rid of the ambient light altogether. We can just give it a little bit more light on the 45. Yay! There we go. And this looks okay. I mean, it's small, but I mean, it's fine. Because we need to be able to iterate through these and kind of like update these pretty quickly. Well, that seems to be fine. And let's assume for now, we're going to move this a little bit closer in its own space. So we'll do 2, 2. Or we could have kept it at that range. Oh, hang on. I have a better idea. We'll actually change. We'll bring the FOV down to 45, which I like a little bit more. Maybe 30. It's a little bit more. Yeah, 40's fine. We're like kind of in a weird spot between like 45 degrees. Okay, I think that works. And like 512 by 512 gives us a lot to work with. And then we'll have the idea when we load these in, we'll have to get the AABB. We're either gonna keep the camera static and scale up or dynamically scale up and scale down the model based on like which is more wider or lengthier, you know what I mean? Like figure out what the aspect ratio is of the three-dimensional bounds and have it rotate itself accordingly. So this works. So what we'll do now is commit our changes. So yeah, and generate thumbnails of assets. And it's all those right now. And then this asset location, so this thing, what we want to do, so capture this works, capture and save. And we're gonna make this a little bit more generic. Save thumbnail. And this will be the asset ID. We're gonna wait. Where am I doing a tree timer? Oh, right. I'm weighting it to a single. Gotcha, gotcha, gotcha. So then this way we don't have to make this thing fast. This can be void. Then we'll queue free it. All right, so let's give this a go. We're writing some terrible code tonight, but you know, it doesn't matter. So if we go to the space edit folder, boom. So these should be both of our captures. I wonder do we have to reset it each time? Because we should be seeing both. We're getting the first one. But then once we change out the item, right, we're supposed to be getting like more this one, both of these. There shouldn't be an inside corner anymore. So one of them, like the first one that like loads in and actually works, and then the second one is not working. What's the second one? Right, so we're getting this one. We're not getting the interior wall. So maybe we just don't. Do we need to change render once per capture? Maybe a little bit more time. Maybe. We need to give it more time to make sure it's been added to the scene tray. Okay, we get 2 assets. But maybe it didn't get unloaded? And I don't think, yeah, that they should be 2 different prefabs. The interior corner is working fine, but this one is not bringing in its friend. I think so. Yeah, why are we getting the same image? Did we do something different to force it to update again? Oh, wait a second. Maybe we have the call defer it. Yeah. I'm being an idiot. We have the call defer it, and we got to re-change the sub viewport mode each time. Okay. So now it should go through. 1, 2. All right, that's good. That's better. Really? Oh, wait, but then that's black. So do all of the same settings now need to be reapplied each time? Or do we gotta do this each time? Does it make sense? Oh, maybe we have to clear it. Where did I get clear mode? Update mode. Always clear. Maybe it should be always clear anyway. Hang on. Why? Do I need to set this each time? It would seem weird. Can I ask it? You set blah blah blah. Oh, what are we setting it to? Always. What's the point of disabling it early? Thanks for the follow. Is it play it? Okay, so every time we do it. And then wait for the render. Okay. That makes sense. Okay, so I'm gonna change it to go ahead and update this. Even with the debugging, it's still like, what? Yeah, background for ID is not transparent. Why? Yeah, like waiting a few frames is not working. I wonder why. Yeah, I think it might just need more time. Yeah, that's nice frame. That doesn't make any sense. Resource is good. And I mean, I could just give it a background color, like a green or something, and just throw a shader on it. But I still think we should be able to just do it with an alpha. It's weird. Sure. Yeah, no. This is fine. Sub viewport's fine. On world. Right, the await process frame is great. That's a good improvement. Right, the world environment. What do we do? wait another frame. It's like wait 3 frames just to be sure. It'll work with 3 frames. I want to see. Let's go to the database. Let's reorder these and just see if they bake in the same. Yeah. So the first one's fine. The second one's not fine. It's not resetting, right? Because now this one's great. I don't think it's clearing. And I could kill. It could be the viewport. Kind of save it out to a file. Nope. So it's not the world environment. Yeah, I wonder. Yeah. Why doesn't that copy? It's never. I feel like it needs to be like switched, or find a way to reset it. Now we have them both without. Oh, Same thing. What's the way to force it to nope. All this is fine. Create a new sub viewport for each image. Really? I mean, it's a terrible. Yeah, by passing the stages between the frame time synchronization, reintroduce a fallback transparency code for a safety net to avoid relying on it. Or a post-processing effect to enforce it. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, it's so funny. The direction light didn't get placed. But that works. Cool. And I don't know if we actually need to wait 4 frames. I'm going to clean this up. That's probably not a bad idea. What are we reparenting? We're just reparenting the asset location node and the camera. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, that works. Cool. And I don't know about those waiting. Like a lot of this can now be optimized. Lovely. Hmm. In a while, your head is more balder. My head, well, I mean, I can't get more balder than balder. That's too warm. Anime hacker man. Oh, game's going. You just had a hard drive go poof on me? That sucks. You're randomly doing data recovery. So we want to, in the space drawer, always do backups. Let's do... Hmm. You really hate been talking to humans for a while? Probably. This dynamic we have, it's like pulling teeth today. What did I put spaces in this thing? Tell me about what's happening. Right now I'm building a tool called Space Edit. What does it edit? The universe. Oh yeah, that works. Sounds like hyperbole. I'll show you. Let me. Oh yeah, check this out, Bob. I wrote a launcher. So Unforgiven Space Launcher. You can log in. Connect your Patreon. Close the window. Delta patches. Play button's not supposed to appear right now, but you know. I have way too much art that I need to do on the Steam page to get the Steam page up. So this is like the tool that I'm working on. It's called Space Edit. Right, I can select the objects, I can rotate them, make it free, people play. Right, so this is the very early prototype of Space Edit. But you know, the idea is I can create. So you're making stations. I'm making systems for making space stations. And then I can like go up, 2 little layers and kind of add more. "3D wall in space." Yep, it's crazy. I know. 3D wall in space. Yep, it's crazy. I know. 3D wall in space. Yep, it's crazy. I know. 3D wall in space. Yep, it's crazy. I know. 3D wall in space. Yep, it's crazy. I know. 3D wall in space. Yep, it's crazy. I know. 3D wall in space. Yep, it's crazy. I know. But anyway, this is the very, very basic. This is like day 2 of working on Space Edit. But what we need about Space Edit is online. So the idea is I host a session, and typically this will be integrated into the game. So if I'm, playing like in a level, and I'm like, man, I want to get some help, like shoveling out some of these things and redoing all these assets and replacing stuff or whatever, I just host a session. Someone else runs a build, they connect, and then all the assets will be like streamed in, and you can just change everything in the game, right? While the game's running, so you're just on the server. So that's what I'm kind of working on, building like a custom little inspector plugin or enabling, right? Like online collaborative editing. Can you do that with spaceship? Spaceship modules, not the outer shell, obviously, because the outer shell is like canned. But it would be a good internal tool for when you're reconfiguring your spaceship and like swapping around the modules and stuff. It'll make a lot more sense to make spaceships like this, yeah. Right, so this is this is the early version of Space Edit. I just wanted a default cube so I can render it out and put it in the game as a default if it doesn't find anything. If people can like configure their own spaceships, you can like pump out new content faster. Yep. No, I hear you. That's why I'm going to spend 2 weeks working on Space Edit and see how far I can get with it. One day I might want to make an aircraft carrier. I don't know if you rename it. Okay. Oh, yeah, it's like, nah, that's lame. Look at like boot up Space Edit and make it. Yep. Sell the designs to people. Maybe the means of making money could be like selling the ability to make your own ship designs, like a subscription model. I don't know. Maybe. And now what are you going to need to make these a little bit bigger? So my goal now, we need to do a check when we're loading these in to see if like a hashed, instance already exists for it in the assets folder, and if not, like, because I think I can actually bring that generator into the scene because it's a sub scene. You know what I did? You shaved your head. What do you mean? I always shave my head. I have no hair left. Nothing's changed. You had hair when you started. It literally was not all the hair. Find a clip with me with hair, okay? Like sideburns. Yeah, I think we'll double the size and then we'll do the preloading. The game that I took you here. The sacrifices have to be made, Bob. Maybe not. Hang on. Maybe we'll do story 64. Yeah, that looks okay. Something like in the median. Yeah, let's do 96. I think 96 will be fine. $96. Yeah, it's a bit better. Yeah, so I might want to make this a little bit wider. I wonder if we can have a placeholder item while they're actually loading. Then after this, we'll go raid someone. Yeah, so we could null propagation that. Let's go into the so in the drawer. Okay, so let's check for. So it'd be the same as this. We're gonna just do a check and see if it exists. So we're gonna need an array of images that we can kind of like use. Okay, that's all fine. I love AI, man. Nice. And now if we go, we do need to default it, so let's go nuke. Let's assume our asset cache is deleted. Okay, then we get nothing. Let's rebuild. Let's rebuild the asset cache. Okay. All right, I'm gonna call that a win. And then tomorrow we'll do the light stuff. So this is fine. So when we start the editor, we'll actually start the editor in a main scene that's not necessarily space edit. We'll go through this process of like a startup where we kind of scan our assets, rebake, re-update all the asset textures if they need to be updated, and Yeah, it's good. Excellent. Alright guys, I'm gonna end it here on YouTube. Gonna go find someone to raid. Thank you guys for tuning in. Oh yeah, it is blue from the bottom screen. This is evil revere arc. That's funny.